My name is Rebecca Merritt. I am with Merritt Design Co, and we're located in South Florida. So in between Miami and Fort Lauderdale, kind of, we serve both of those areas, but I live right in the middle.
Awesome. You sent us a couple of project images not too long ago that
Yeah.
had a decent amount of product that you purchased from Daniel House Club in it. But more, I just wanted to talk about the project, your work, maybe not zoom in on that project just yet, more broadly, like talk about how you got into the industry and
hmm
what projects you take.
Yeah, no, that's a fun question because I'm very similar to probably a lot of other designers where I started in corporate America. I actually worked in IT and cybersecurity for like 12 years and went to school for IT and just kind of got burnt out with it. And I was doing my own. I did two different remodels for myself, had some Airbnbs. I was helping other friends with remodels in my free time, and that was really lighting me up. So I decided during the pandemic to leave IT, leave the comfort of corporate,
Yeah.
um, and start my own interior design business. And at the same time, I was moving to South Florida from Ohio. So I'm from Ohio, moved down here, and it was just a perfect opportunity, perfect time, because I was not the only one moving to South Florida. Everyone seemed to be moving
Right.
there. Yeah,
Everyone needed their interiors done.
they did. It was a huge like pivot to the Miami area. Everyone was tired of the cold and they just wanted to come live in paradise if you can work from home. So there was a huge move, and I just kind of jumped in, and I've been helping clients since. I've been down here for 4 years now and love it. And I help a lot of, so I started with primarily residential clients, but I had my own Airbnbs, like I mentioned, and I've always loved like creating that experience for clients and for the clients, their ultimate guest, if you will. And
Yeah.
so I've positioned myself as well more into like vacation homes, short-term rentals, but like down here, short-term rentals are a thing, but also long-term rentals are a thing because you have your snowbirds
Right.
where it's seasonal. So it's not just about throwing together a home with your grandma's old, couch and IKEA furniture. They want quality furniture to sit on and sleep on, and the guest wants something that's going to feel like their home. So people invest a bit more on vacation homes down here as well, and they want quality, which is my love language, is a quality piece that will last forever, or as long as
As
we
long as we can make it last, right?
yeah.
Um, I have two questions, and the first is, did your IT background like transfer at all into this new line of work for you?
Yeah, so I would say a few different things. I have a bunch of girlfriends in the design world. I went to a design school when I first started and connected with 30 women across the country. And so I'm kind of the IT girl where they're like, how do I set up all these passwords? Or am I doing this right? So I'm the IT girl for all the girlfriends. But also I ran a professional services team in my IT world. So I wasn't building computers or doing any sort of coding. I was running a services practice, and I was doing that in consulting since I started. So that operation side of it and how to run a business really translated well over, because I was really running a small business within the company, the startup I was in, managing the financials, doing, building out packages, building out services, selling to the clients and delivering on services. So all of that translated really well. And like understanding how to price myself was something I kind of already knew.
That is awesome, because I do
Yeah.
not think there are a lot of designers who start in that spot. I think
Yeah,
a life of learning for most of us.
it is. And even like friends that I have that went to school for design, because that's where my head goes when I first wanted to pivot. Should I go back to school? Should I, take 4 more years to do this? And they walked into this whole world not even knowing how to run a business and not knowing how to price themselves. And they knew how to use SketchUp. They could make anything in SketchUp or Revit, but pricing and operations and the client experience, you can't learn that really.
Right. It's really, well, you probably can, but you need a whole education in that.
Yeah.
And I think I went to I went to a school that had a major art program at it, and the art students for their like hard science classes just took web design. And I always felt like this is really not sufficient. Like these people are going to need more than that. And I'm very lucky here because everyone around me has the kind of brain that you have, and I don't have it at all. I would be one of your girlfriends who needs help. So I'm always like in awe of people like you. So the other question I had is you talk about vacation homes, Airbnbs. I assume you also work for clients who live full time in their homes, or is it okay?
Yeah.
How would you describe like the major difference between those two types of clients, and is there one that you prefer? You know, without throwing anybody under the bus that you.
Yeah, it's a good question. So when you're designing for a resident that lives here full time, you know, you really need to take into account how they move within their home and how they live. Like they're going to have more stuff than somebody that's a vacation homeowner. So we probably need dressers in a bedroom. If you have a vacation homeowner, maybe that's a desk or, you know, a little pop-up office because you don't really need a ton of place to put your clothes. So, and storage and other things you have. I would say how they live is the biggest thing. And then the end client is obviously going to change. So when I'm designing for the residents home, the people that are there full time, I'm talking to them about their preferences, the colors, the style, what they like, and what materials they want to see in their home and how they live. But when I'm working with a vacation homeowner, I have to kind of work with the clients to not think about what they like and more about what the ideal client that's coming to their area likes. Like, is it a bunch of bachelorettes? Is it a family? You know, is it a couple? And we think about that. And then we think about what services, what pieces within the home. Like if it's a family, we need probably a big sectional or a lot of seating, right? If it's a couple, maybe we want something that like is cozy for them to sit in and have a glass of wine or something. So we think about that end client versus the residential end client.
This is probably a stupid question. I
No,
assume
never.
those assumptions about who's staying really has to do with like the number of rooms and things. Are there other factors that indicate to you whether it's going to be a couple or a party of people for a bachelorette party?
Yeah. So there's a lot of different tools that we can use to assess the market and what amenities do well. So we look at various amenities and what the market has already. So if it's Miami, for example, there's a ton of 2-bedroom condos that are more so suited for like 4, maybe 6 if you're pushing it, you know, folks. So that's pretty saturated, and we might have to talk to them about like, let's find a different market or niche in a little bit to something that's not already there. Like a pink bachelorette house maybe isn't there yet or something, right? Something that might feel, or like a really themed home might do better here than something that's really general and modern that's already saturated. So coming from my background in IT and everything, I love to approach it with a data mindset and just think about, let's look at the data and see what's there already and then roll it out from there.
So you're really even helping these clients figure out what unit or what property they're going to buy. And
yeah, so that was another thing that when I left IT, I decided I wanted to also get my real estate license and just understand the real estate side. I was just curious about all things home. And in order to invest in your home, whether it's a remodel, renovation, furnishings, you need to understand what that investment will be. Like, we're going to buy this home, we're going to renovate it. And then what will ultimately come out after we do all of this? Is it worth that investment? Is how I look at it. And so, I got into that. I don't love the real estate side though, so I haven't practiced it as much, but I have that knowledge.
I think I would hate being a realtor, but I'm glad. I think I would enjoy having the knowledge too.
Yeah.
I would lose patience very quickly.
I found that. And yeah, if I was in Ohio, where I'm from Ohio, and you know, it's like my aunts, uncles, all of my friends, I have a huge community there. It's different down here when you're more of a transplant and there's not as much like loyalty.
Yes, that makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know how long you've been a member of Daniel House Club. What's
probably 2 years now.
Okay, and are we helping? Are we?
Yes.
Okay. Good.
Yes.
That's always what I want to hear. So how are we helpful? What's like the most helpful aspect? Why do you shop with us?
Well, I am big into efficiencies. If I am not efficient, I'm not profitable. My margins just don't make sense. And being a business owner and company employee of one, I have to be very efficient. So I find that I love these side of interiors and furnishings, and I could look at lamps for 10 hours and be so happy and find all of these beautiful things, but it's not productive when I'm looking at it from a business standpoint. So when I used Daniel House Club, and like for the last project I did, I found myself first going to different vendors. I'm like, I'm going to go to Four Hands, I'm going to go to Uttermost, wherever, Jamie Young, and find a different lamp or a different thing. And then I'm searching all over constantly. Instead of just, I popped in Daniel House Club and I can put in the measurements, whatever it is, the specs I need, and, see 100 blue lamps that are 25 inches high. And it saves me so much time. I think from that standpoint, it's been extremely valuable, and I won't use anything else. Like, I love going in there and even just kind of visualizing and thinking about what I will do, which I could talk about that. But like the other side that really helps me is from a logistical standpoint. So I just did a project in the Panhandle of Florida, and I wasn't in charge of source like procurement. We'll never do that again, but it was a nightmare. Like, we did a 2-bedroom, 2-bath home. It was 1,800 square feet. And in that home alone, when you're doing a vacation home, a lot of times we're doing a full turnkey experience. So you're bringing in dishes and towels and everything you need for that space. So we had over 400 items that came into that home. And as an individual employee and company owner, to be that person that has to track those 400 items is just insanity.
Yeah.
And if you think about, okay, you order 2 lamps. Well, how do you know that both lamps got there and both came not damaged? And even when we were doing the install, they said the bed had been delivered, but then the frame wasn't there. But according to the shipping, the bed was there. Yes. So there's just so many nuances and details, and it can be very frustrating when you're working with 100 different vendors. You can't keep track of all that. And it's a peace of mind to know, like, I can come to you guys and I email you guys and you're responding within like hours, minutes sometimes. And I can always get an answer. And if you guys don't have it, you're like, we're figuring it out. So to know that there's a real human that I can like work with is helpful, because I have, for that project, I had a few vendors actually that they just don't answer. And sometimes I'm like, are they still in business? Like,
I know.
Worried?
We used to just sit in our office when we were just managing our own projects, being like, why won't you sell me your things? Like, where are you? I don't
Where are you? Yeah, it's crazy. So when I can't get a hold of the people that I'm buying from and then give my clients an answer on where their bed is, it just makes me look bad. And I hate bad communication. Like, one of my number one things is like good communication, because a lot of the people I work with, they don't live here full time. So they're putting their trust in me to, manage it from order to, or from, concept to completion, and make sure everything is how they want it. And they can't be here looking over my shoulder. I need to be on top of it.
Yeah, you've described something that I really do think every designer experiences. My brother Alex, who's our CEO, and who was like, I don't know, talent manager and finance guy when we were running our design firm, was like, he said, like, I meet designers and they just seem like the most panicked group of people. and I'm like, well, listen, Alex, like, all the things that are out of their control that they're taking on all the responsibility for are like, they're hundreds of little details that they are dependent on other people for. So of course they're panicked, because no one will get back to them about where in the world these things are that they've paid a lot of money for.
Right.
So okay. I'm glad that you're having a really positive experience. We really like to be focused on only implementing changes that we know are things our designers want.
Yeah.
That's like down to vendors, like when our concierge team like gets a request for a new vendor, we keep tally marks of how many times we've been asked for that vendor. And once they hit a certain mark, then we go chase those because we know designers really want them. But then there's other little small features and little things we know don't quite work yet. So I'd love to hear, what are some of the things that you wish we did better?
Oh, that's a good question. So one thing I found it to be a little clunky is when I'm working with more of the virtual clients, the short-term rental or like vacation home where they're not here, and I'm presenting them concepts and detailed design boards. And if I want them, say I'm not going on site and I'm not doing the install, and I want them to just handle all procurement, kind of like unleashing that. I want to go through Daniel House Club because it's all there so they can check out. But sometimes I feel like that process is a little clunky where maybe I want to include like 2 lamps and let them pick at the end of the day what they want to put in their cart.
Uh-huh.
I would love for them to be able to say, so I give them maybe a design board and I have an accessories package that I want them to kind of pick from. I could add, a board where it's accessories and then they can pick and choose and like check out with what they want.
Interesting. So I think, I don't think this would quite do what you want, but you do know that we have the client, you can set it so the client can take stuff off.
No, I think I've only done it where it's like the invoice and then they just have to buy the whole thing. So,
okay, no, there is a feature where you can set the cart so they can remove items before they make the purchase.
Okay.
So, and I'm, as I said, horrible with technology, which is weird for the position that I'm in. But I will have somebody reach out and give you a little guidance on how to use that. Because I think what you're describing, it would actually be cool if we had it a little bit better and different than this, but you would kind of be able to facilitate that.
Totally.
But that's interesting as far as an accessories package goes.
Or like the essentials. So if I could create a board that would be all of the essentials for a vacation home that you need, like your sheets, your towels, basics like that, I could just put it to any client I want. And you probably could do that with the boards, like create almost like a wish list board and then assign it to somebody and create a duplicate.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably how I would do it, but we could certainly make that more elegant because that would be really cool if you just had like a package ready to go. That's a great idea.
Yeah.
Okay. Those are very helpful.
Yeah.
Anything else? Or anything else you just want people to know about you, about the wonders of South Florida?
Oh, well, one other thing. This is a different use case that I use Daniel House Club for that I mentioned it for a second, but I feel like others would really love this too. So I am big into manifesting, and I think you have to get it out there and like put it on paper. And, if you're trying to manifest something, you've got to make it obvious to the universe or whoever. And what I do is sometimes at night, I'll get like a Pinterest board. So right now I'm manifesting a Key West home, like a historical home that I want to redo. And it's out there. So if you're there and you need that done, give me a call. But what I did is I created a Pinterest board and I'm like pinning all the things that I think this person would be doing or liking or drinking or eating, all the 5 senses. And I just create this like visual. And then in Daniel House Club, I'm able to go in and I create like a wish list board essentially for Key West. And so anytime I see a lamp or a light fixture or this like side table that would be perfect in this Key West home, I'm putting it there. And it's just helping me visualize. And I really think it helps manifest like what it is you want when it's created already, right? So
genius. I love that. I'm going to start doing that for, my own dream home in my head.
I think you should. Everyone should.
Yeah. Totally. I have a little just like folder on my desktop, which is a mess, by the way.
Yeah.
So I always dig for it. That just says like where if I find an image, I just clip it in there, like as an idea for, someday if I ever do build a home or restore a home, those ideas are being built there.
Yeah.
But I don't know what the price of them is, which you do. So that's really helpful.
Yeah. And that's my pinch. I have a whole Pinterest board room by room. So it's good to manifest, good to visualize.
Awesome. Well, Rebecca, thanks so much for your time and for sharing your awesome work with us. I love when clients send in pictures. So we're really excited to share those. And let's talk again soon.
Yeah, most definitely. When I have that Key West home, I'll be calling you guys. So
Awesome. All right. We look forward to it.
perfect. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.